Let's talk about quality control when dealing with China. You know, in Walmart, you hardly ever buy bad goods. What's going on here? One thing I have found is that Russians are not complaining.
The way business is done. It's done very differently depending on your culture and the country you're talking about. You can probably tell this already because you have experience in this. But no one has ever probably talked to you about the way and explained to you about the way the cultures are different in negotiation. You can feel this in the business dealings that you do now, which we've been talking about this morning. Classically, Russians are doing business with China without any work in the beginning. They simply go and say, today I will make a good deal with my Chinese partners. I will buy the right product. I will make profit from my company. This isn't really working. So, now we're doing trigger points. What are the trigger points? What do these countries have that make business go forward in each one of these countries? Through my experiences with doing business around the world, I began to see something that's driving business rather than just profit. Now, obviously, all companies want to make profit, but there's something hidden underneath. So profit's what you can see up here. Well, what's under here? What's this thing under here that's driving business? And that is the trigger points. So and they're different for almost all of these. Okay? So what is the trigger point? Do you think the trigger point for Russia is? What's your trigger point?
Personal pride.
I've told these guys here already. Personal pride of the director that has the power to say yes or no in the deal. So if they have the power, yes, no power in the deal, their personal pride is the trigger point for Russian business. This is what moves business forward, also profit. So you want to make profit? That's number one. But number two is the personal pride of the director that has yes, no power in the deal. So both of these are important in negotiation. Let's look at America. What do you think the trigger point is for America?
Of course we know.
Of course you know.
Thanks a lot for coming along. I'll see you in the next video. Hope you have a really good day. Take care, guys.
Responsibility is for America. So we put a lot of value on if we're responsible. And it's not just about the item that we're selling or the item that we're manufacturing. It's also about responsibility for the company, responsibility for our family, responsibility for America itself, right? All of this responsibility. Now, what about China? What's different? And it's very different. It's not the same at all. So here's our world map. What do you think about China?
Cultural trigger points.
It's honor and respect. And this is different from personal pride. It's different from responsibility. This is what drives them forward in business. It's the thing that actually makes them actually give you a good deal. How do you affect honor and respect? Well, we can talk about that a little bit, but let's see what else we have here. Here's cultural decision mapping.
Notice that China is okay with the whole process.
So, cultural decision mapping is the way that you think about a problem and the way that you solve it. Okay? So if you look at Russia up top, you have a problem, and then you go to the fix of the problem, or the actual decision on how to fix the problem, and then at the end you have no problem. If you look at the United States, it's very similar. This is why when you deal with the United States and Europe, countries like Germany and the United States, maybe if you deal with France or whoever's manufacturing your goods, Poland, I don't know where you're getting them from, Scandinavia, they're similar in the thinking processes, but there are some differences. This will not cause you trouble, actually. This is why, and we were just discussing this morning. If you go to negotiate with the United States, or say you go to Germany to buy certain electronic parts, if you just stand up in the morning and go, today I will make a deal with these Germans, and I will make profit for my company, and I'm going to make a good deal today. You look in the mirror, you tell yourself this. If you do that, it's probably going to work, because our thought processes are very similar. Okay? You're not going to have as many problems. But if you do that with China, uh-oh, huge problems. Huge problems. And this is why the quality control is not being held to the standard that you're used to when you deal with America. I asked the colleagues today, I was asking them, when you buy products from Europe or America, do you have broken products? And they said not many. You could live your whole life and buy things in America, and probably once, maybe once or twice, you might, out of your whole life, have something that's broken from the store.
Russians are not complaining, and they actually are having a hard time imagining what kind of things the Chinese can actually screw up, can make mistakes on. It's hard for Russians to imagine this.
Start making it cultural when you're dealing with China. Force out of them the quality that is deserved by you. Let me explain something. They're over there in China doing this. Yeah, that's pretty good quality phone. We'll send that to America. Yeah, this one's crappy. Let's send that to Russia. That's exactly what they're doing. They're separating things into piles. This one's good. That goes to America, to England. Multiple times in my work here in Russia, I have bought things from the store, and right out of the box, it's broken already. What's going on? There's a lot of things going on. We're going to try to tell you that here today. We'll tell you why this is happening, okay, and how to correct this problem. So, we have what's going on here. Other experts. So, in America, the difference between us is usually the decision is made very rapidly in Russia, and consulting other people is not necessarily something that you do. You can, but not always. In America, it's absolutely essential. You must have checked with other people. Like, did you check with Tom? Did you check with John? Susan, did you call her up? I don't know. If you didn't, you're not being responsible. You're not being responsible. Germany, this is why their cars are so good. 1, 2, 3. Did you check with, I don't know, whatever their names are over there. Did you check with them? Did you do all your checks perfectly? If you didn't, go back and do it. Okay? This is why their cars don't break. So you can see. Now with China, it's a whole other ballgame. One other thing I'd like to point out. Where people are comfortable. In Russia, you're only comfortable with no problem. Same with America. Same with Britain. We must have no problem. If we have a problem, I'm uncomfortable. If we have a problem, you're uncomfortable. Same thing. We're together here. Germany's a little weird. They kind of like the process of fixing it. So they are comfortable here. And China is the crazy ones because they kind of feel comfortable with all of this whole thing. And they think in circles, which is why it drives you crazy. So they start and they go around and around. They will spend
Comfortable with circular thinking.
a whole day. I've seen Gazprom dealing with China, and a whole day they were on the first point. The Russian lawyers for Gazprom were crazy by this. They ran out of the room. They, thank you very much, and they went back and drank vodka, and they never came back because it drove them crazy. To a Russian, to have this kind of thinking makes you insane. Because you can't understand it. Because look at yours and compare. There is no business in China except you're with friends. Now, let me explain. Can you buy this from China and not be a friend? Sure. But that's what's wrong with your quality control. That's what's wrong with your quality control. That's why you've got the chips all in a line. Okay? But if you're doing repeated business and you are a business partner, you will be considered to be in one of their circles of trust. You will be considered to be a friend of them. You should strive for that. You should work at that. And if you're repeatedly ordering items from them and you're getting good deliveries, you are. You are considered to be one of their friends. They would like to see you there. They would take you out and wine and dine you and show you around and treat you very nicely. But here's an important point. When you're there visiting the factories or going to vet your inspectors, which we talked about today, vet the inspectors, check the inspectors. When you are there, you are always working. The only time that you can take your coat off and your tie off and act like you normally would with Russians is in your hotel room when the door is shut. Then you can act like you would with your friends. Other than that, when you're stepped out, you better say to yourself, I'm on now. I've got to control my emotions. I have to control because they're watching. Even if they're not watching, they're watching. Closed circuit TV. How do they decide to do business with you? By watching. How do they decide to give you a better deal? By watching. I said this to you before, but I'll say it again real quick. You will meet the top director of that company, but you won't know it. Probably not. You'll meet him in the hallway. He'll shake hands with you. It's just one old gentleman that you didn't, there's 100 old gentlemen. You shake hands with all these people. That one was the guy really in charge, and he judged you in 1 second. Who is this person? Are we going to give them good products, or are we going to send them crappy ones? Let's send them the crappy cameras. Doesn't matter. They won't complain. Start complaining. You've got to. Demand better. Demand better quality. Yes? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hope it was fun. Make a trick, a little trick to you, right? If they can make a little trick and make money, they enjoy this. They enjoy this. Do you need batteries?
No.
No?
No, I don't.
Okay. So, quality control. How to keep the quality control high? Well, many different ways that we need to do this. One thing, your influence is increased by building your respect and honor. Quality control of products you're importing is directly related to your influence over your Chinese partners. The influence that you wield is directly influencing the quality control that you're bringing in. Now, what gives you influence over your Chinese partners? Besides respect and honor, what other things give you influence? Respect and honor built over time is one. What other things give you influence on them? We talked about how to build respect and honor. It's very important that you use the same things that are being used now when they deal with other cultures. You should be using these same techniques to deal with the Chinese people. What techniques do you think that Germany and America and England use when they deal with the Chinese? Contracts. Good. And we've discussed this already in here, that contracts are starting to become more important in Russia. Stipulate, which means write down and actually itemize every little piece that's important in the contract. This is important. But there's other things. Demand better. Demand better. You must demand better. But Walmart. I could take you into Walmart. You could buy, how much percentage do you think the stuff that's in Walmart is made in China?
More than half.
Way more than half. 90, maybe 80 something. 80 something percent of the products that are sold in Walmart are manufactured in China. Okay, we go on a little field trip in Walmart and we start buying products. Are they broken? Is anything broken? Have you ever purchased one that's broken? Hardly in your life would it ever happen to you. The other day I bought another camera. It's a I don't know, a camera for underwater, right? A sports camera, right? And it's made in China, obviously. And when I got this thing home, I found out that the focus of the camera is set about here. So here's the camera and here's the focus. This is where it's focused. It means it's zero good for anything else. Now let me ask you something. So in other words, if I shot you with this camera, you would be out of focus. But if I stuck it right in your face, you'd be in focus. Okay, is this valuable? Now let me ask you a question. Do you believe the Chinese manufacturer knew that this camera was malfunctioning this way? Yes. Yes and yes. Do you believe that the chips that you got that were in a line that you had to break into pieces, do you believe that they knew that they...
This is the guy who reprogrammed all
this is the guy who broke the chips into pieces. Okay. These chips, do you believe that the manufacturer realized that they boxed it up and sent it to you that way?
Yes, they knew it.
They knew it. They knew it. Why did they do it?
It's strange.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why.
They
Because-
tested us if we can allow it. Maybe we'll send it one more time and many times.
Test you, number one. Number two, they got one over on you. They saved time themselves. Productivity. We'll send it to them like this. See what happens. Will they yell? Will they yell? Did you yell? I don't know. Did you yell? You didn't yell. You didn't yell. Oh my God, you didn't yell. Here's some
We
keys.
just have not bought anything from the company.
Aha! Okay, but that's
Well,
still
that-
not good enough. That's good, but not good enough. That's good, but not good enough. The reason why you do not get broken products in Walmart, you would never buy a camera that's out of focus like that. Never. Because the culture of America would be to take the camera back, put it on the desk of the service department, and they would say, "What's wrong?" And I would say, the image is out of focus. And they would say, "Well, did you try to focus it?" And I'd say, "Well, there's no way. This camera's a fixed focus camera." And they would say, "Okay, do you have the receipt? Here it is." No questions asked, money comes back. Even if I didn't have the receipt, I probably could bring it back. They would hand me my cash in my hand. But that's not the end of the story. That camera gets put back on a shelf. Then it gets sent to an apartment where the buyer, the purchaser that purchases from the manufacturer, from Walmart, is sitting there with these. He's like, "Well, I have 3 of these cameras that are out of focus. That's too many. Something's wrong." They call up the supplier and say, "What are you doing?" This company that's manufacturing these electronic devices in China is extremely worried about losing business with Walmart. Send us one more broken camera and that's it. We're not doing business with you anymore. And they quake in their boots. They will never do it. They will snap to and send the right product. Why does the stuff get sent to Russia like this? Why?
Maybe we did not yell loud enough.
You do not yell at all. You just told me you didn't even tell your partner that what? You should be on the phone and say, "Excuse me, what the heck is this?" In the contract, we have discussed that we would supply them this way.
We did not discuss anything.
Well, there you go. In the contract, it should be discussed with this programming on these chips, and then you should follow up and use your notebook to say, "Excuse me, on this date we discussed this, and I have your word. I'm going to talk to Mr. Wan. Mr. Wan told me that the product would be in this way with this particular specification, and they would be delivered packaged in this way. Separated chips, packaged in this type of packaging. Here we go. And I've also written it in the contract. And I'm contacting you now to tell you that you've done wrong. And I want more products sent to us.
Without any.
Without any charge. And if they don't agree to that, you say, well, I'll tell you what, this is not only going to affect our business, our company, and your company, it's going to affect all the companies in Russia. Do you know who we can talk to? Scare them. Use the same tactics that we use. You cannot, look, I understand, because it's not, should be written down. You can have abbreviations or whatever, but if they said things about the quality of the product, the specifications of the product, and even their promises. Now here's where the main huge thing comes. You said that the parts might come that are broken or need to be snapped into pieces and then reprogrammed and all this stuff. These questions should be asked maybe in your second contact or even your second email with them or whatever. You should start to ask these questions about quality control and what happens if the products do not arrive in the way that they're supposed to arrive. And then their answers, verbally or written, should be notated here. And this is partly how you decide, because one of the key factors of the 14 questions that were put to me by different companies about how to find out which company we should go with and which one's going to give us a better deal, the notebook is the key. Because you can look at each page and go, look at this, look at that. You can look at each page and decide.
Yeah, but how about the minutes? I mean that, okay, you have your own hard book and
I'm going to have to sit here.
Maybe it will be convenient if all listeners will be here.
Yeah, that's fine. Sure, sure.
So it's your tool to control.
Okay, cool. No problem.
Huh?
Thank you.
And just with arrows, I think.
I see. Okay, great.
Great system.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Okay, sorry.
I mean that you have your own notebook and you said after some problems came, you said, okay, you said this. He said, I don't say.
That's partly building this trust and respect and being a part of the circles of trust. You could say, look, I was told by whatever the name is, on this date, that you will definitely honor if there was product that was delivered, like you explained, these chips that were delivered that were all as a group and you had to snap them and then the reprogramming. This took man hours out of your business, right? Which awfully affected your profit, maybe even the quality of your finished product, right? So, on this date, you told me, I was told by this person that this is what was going to happen. This is the way we deal in Europe. This is the way we deal in America. This is the way you need to deal with them. Because you're starting to use things now that they're used to hearing about, which is part of this training that I was going to give today about quality control. You are starting to use the same factors that we use to beat them over the head in America. How does the American company not get broken stuff from China? Not get bad made, bad quality things? How does an American company do that?
They own their own company.
Manufacturing company. That's one. That's one. But a manufacturing company in China, right? But many items. I mean, everything is sold. This, by the way. Oh boy, what did I do? Okay, this is sold from China, obviously. And have you ever bought one that doesn't work?
Not really.
Really? In America, you hardly, I mean, once in your life would buy a product that was broken. It can happen, but it's extremely rare. Why?
Quality control.
Quality control, but there's much more going on there.
Maybe several levels.
Yes, but there's much more going on there than just quality control. One of the things, as I'm talking about that notebook, and you would throw it back in their face. On this date, I was told by Mr. Juan that this particular item can be re-sent to us if it was sent wrong. They would replace the item, okay, at no cost. So they would absolutely open that to them. Do you see what I'm saying? And you would have it in your notebook, and then I would also suggest that it should be in your contract.
Well, video game.
Absolutely, that's a good idea too, by the way. That's a good idea too. Because what you're doing is you're using techniques that we use in the West to hold them accountable. Hold them accountable. So it's all very important. Do you see what I'm saying? It's all very important. Okay, so, then maybe I open a little. Very, very important stuff. So we have some other fun slides here. Okay, here's shipping. Here's manufacturing. Okay. Here we go. This is exactly what you deal with. Now, why were these two items together when they should have been separated? Should be stipulated. If it's not stipulated in the contract, first of all, it should be asked. And you know what? You think that it's wrong to ask about these specific things. I understand. It's cultural. You think, well, they're just going to do the right thing. They're going to do what we asked. But unless you stipulate it with them, they will try to play with you. But if you stipulate it with them carefully, with honor and respect. Now, there's a lot I can say about this. One, do not get emotional. Don't do what you see me doing here. You're not speaking like this. Calm speaking, but you do stipulate. I would like our items separated. I would like the proper program on each individual chip. I want that. Stipulate that. This is important to my company that we have the items separated and we have them programmed with this particular, I forget what the program you said. Finware. Okay. We have this particular finware on the isolinear chip. Stipulated. As you're doing this, guess what you're doing though? See, you don't see the backside of this. What you're actually doing when you stipulate all this stuff is you're building that honor and respect. And you're also demanding, you're building, that's building it. You're becoming part of their circle of trust, which is another whole training, but part of their circle of trust. And you're also, I told you that you do not want to have them up here and you're down here. And they're like higher than you. You respect them so much, and they feel like I am big. They respect those people over in Russia. They respect us so much. You want to demand that you are being respected as well. You should walk with power in negotiation with them. If you're not respected equally, the deal will not be good for you. You must show them respect and honor, but demand it back to you. What is it about when you stipulate each individual thing should be separated, the proper finware should be on the isolinear chip,